Say what ho, this is Brian, call me $400 Poorer Gardener, coming to you from the Ramble On Towers Dungeon Studios in scenic Hespeler, Ontario. You are listening to Ramble On Radio, episode 51. Ramble On Radio is the only dedicated Led Zeppelin podcast on this or any other known internets. Be sure to go rambleonradio.com for all your Led Zeppelin news and any links I might mention during the show. You can subscribe to Ramble On Radio through iTunes. And I got a contact from somebody this week who made a point of mentioning he had left a review on iTunes in the U.S. Anybody knows how I can see those? I can see the Canada ones, which are just me. But I think there's ways, right? I think there's ways. Anybody out there who's a tech geek who knows this stuff, I'd like to see how many and whatnot. But anyway, I have, anyway, he said he'd left one. So thank you for that. Thank you for everybody who has. And be sure to go to iTunes if you get it from there and leave a review. Also, listen on Spreaker and be sure to follow me. I am Brian Dammit at Spreaker. And check out I am Brian Dammit on YouTube. Also, follow Ramble On Radio on Facebook, Google+, and at Ramble On Blog on Twitter. And that was, the intro was Acoustic La La off a set called Midnight Rehearsals. It's the only thing I've listened to on it so far. It's got all sorts of stuff. Midnight Moonlight, which became a firm piece. The Lucifer Rising stuff, Rain Song Improv, Night Flight alternate mix, all sorts of little things like this. Turned up this week. Now it's been around for a while, but it returned up, I guess. And that was called Acoustic La La. And the reason it's significant is because we know the only unknown item on the Led Zeppelin 2 bonus tracks is one called La La. So the question is what is La La? And is it that? Did we just hear it? And did you spend $100 and something $440 on a box set so you could hear that? If so, disappointment will reign. Is it an electric version of what we just heard? Basically the same thing, an electric jam with Robert Plant, or and maybe that was the John Paul Jones singing clip. But somebody going la la, and is that what we're getting? Just basically a jam up with somebody doesn't quite have lyrics yet, or is it? Is it a full song and the lyrics are la? What was the one on Page and Plant? Yalla. Something like that. I'm not saying that early version of that or anything. I'm not even hinting at that. I have no information along those. But something like that, and it's got the la la as part of the something. Robert Plant was an oddball when it came to naming songs anyway, so who knows what it really was. But we don't know. The only one we don't know is Lala. Now, I should point out, I contacted John Davis through a website, basically, through a Steve Hoffman forum. I contacted him offline, or contacted him privately, and he has not got back. I was hoping maybe he'd come on the show, but who knows? And maybe he can answer one of those questions. He has not got back to me. Now, I sit and I kind of, I like to point out when I've contacted somebody and maybe try to shame them once in a while. But that does not apply here. It's one thing when you contact somebody whose job it is to do these things. Somebody who's, if you contact a PR firm for whoever. For instance, I contacted Warner. I got a hold of Warner Brothers, and basically said, any chance of getting any review material? This is who I am, this is what I do. Any chance of getting review material, interview, any press releases, any interview subjects? Nothing, not a blank. Now, somebody there has a job is to answer those emails, and they still don't bother answering those emails. That kind of grinds me a little bit. Even if the answer is, go away, little man. We're not bothered with your little block. But, of course, Warner Brothers was bothered when it was some Brazilian. Remember the Brazilian one that basically canned-in interview questions? Yeah, I'd do that. I'd go with that. But, but nothing. Nothing. Now, it's only been a week. And I should point out, California Breed took about 2 weeks to get back to me. They did get back to me. I actually have a review copy of that. I've been listening to that the last couple of days. And they hinted that possibly they would bring up the subject anyway, that the PR people would mention to management, bring up the subject of an interview. So that's a possibility down the road. Anyway, what I'm getting at, but when you contact John Davis himself, he's a busy professional. And if he doesn't have time to get back to me, and on Steve Hoffman, he dropped in at Steve Hoffman Forum, answered a few questions. He even said, I got an hour or two to answer some questions, throw them at me. And then people started throwing questions, and then he's disappeared. And now people are, why show up if you can't? The guy's a busy professional. He's good enough at his job that Jimmy Page hired him to remaster Led Zeppelin's albums. You think other people aren't getting him, and that's how he makes his money. That's what he does. And presumably you don't get into that if you don't like doing it, right? It's not like building cars at the car plant, what I do, which you fall into when you can't find whatever it is you like to do. You work hard to get to where he is because you enjoy it as much as anything. And because the rewards are, presumably, rewarding, profitable. It's a profitable enterprise, being an engineer at his level, I would think. But so he doesn't get back to me, if he never does, I'm not going to bitch about that because I understand I'm interrupting his day. I'm asking for something out of him more personally, not professionally. But if he does, he has shown himself to be a little bit willing to chat to people and stuff through his Steve Hoffman Forum stuff and whatnot when he's got the time. So maybe something comes of that. That would be one of the questions, definitely the first question. Is this Lala? Although I don't think he could answer it. He seems to be on a bit of a gag order on a lot of the subjects. But that's... So the question you have to... hold on. I'm going to go backwards. Let me go backwards. I got a few things to bring up before we get into... And we're going to talk about the remasters today. It's out there. There's nothing else to talk about, right? Well, the Irish Clock. My apologies. The Irish Clock. First off, though, we got 3-4 quick stories. I mentioned California Breed. I got the album. I'm reviewing it. It's good. There is a video of their first single called Sweet Tea. You can rambleonradio.com. You can view it. I have it up there. It's on YouTube. And, if you Google it, you'll find it. It's called Sweet Tea. It's a good album. It's first impressions are there's a noticeable difference between what Andrew Watt and what Joe Bonamassa bring to the table. John Bonamassa is a much more melodic player. And so some of that kind of sense of the melody that runs in, the really sweet little lines and stuff, less so here and there. It's a little more in your face. And the acoustic stuff's a little more traditionally acoustic stuff, the slower stuff. So there's not Hadrian's Wall here. There's not Song of Yesterday type of thing. Got some slower stuff, and it's all good. It's all good. That's not a criticism it's not a plus or minus. Let's say it's different that way. There is a noticeable difference between the two bands, and of course they're missing the keyboards. I think this is a little raw, and that's again I've listened to it, I think twice. I haven't even done my car. I always listen in the car before I really get into reviewing something. It's the one place where you can kind of crank it up and let it loose, more or less without distraction. So, in a couple of weeks we'll do that. I'm kind of going to hold out and wait and see if somebody actually gets back to me on interview time and stuff. But it's not out till May, so there's another month and a half before anything comes up on it. But it's there now. But the news is California Breed. Remember Black Country Communion and I. If you go back to the first couple of podcasts, which by the way I've pulled offline, just it's a money space issue. I've maxed out my space at number 50. I was getting pretty close to maximum space for the server that I use for this podcast, so I pulled the first 10. If you're dying to hear them, contact me. I can set you up. But other than that, they're gone. But if you remember, we talked a lot about Black Country Communion. Why don't they tour? that sort of thing. So California Breed is touring September, December. Jason Bonham posted on Twitter this week. And again, go to rambleonradio.com. You can read the whole post. Facebook and Twitter, he posted that 4 tours. Jason Bonham leads up on Experience, then to Heart. Then he's doing a couple of shows with Sammy Hagar. And then September to December, he's touring with California Breed. That's September to December. 4 months he's touring with California Breed. That's a big tour. These guys are going out and they're serious. So that's good news. And hopefully he's coming to a town near me. If not near you. I'm guessing they're hitting a lot of North America with that. 4 months is a long time. You can hit a lot of cities. You know, that could be up to 100 dates, really. Probably more likely around 80, but yeah, you're touching all the bases there, right? All right. Meanwhile, John Paul Jones is heading out in June with the Dave Rawlings Machine, 5 shows. The thing I said, the Dave Rawlings had it on his webpage. It mentioned 6 shows, but then listed 5 shows. So I don't know if there's going to be another show added. But I'm guessing it's a 5-show thing. That was just a misedit, or, you know, somebody got that just a bit wrong. But and basically, now I don't know Dave Rawlings very well. I don't know Dave other than from John Paul Jones, and that may be why he doesn't come to Toronto. It may be that he's a very localized interest band. But it strikes me that he's touring basically the same tour he did last year with John Paul Jones. You know, kind of Nashville into Atlanta, that sort of stuff. So, but that kind of central southern corridor of the States seems to be what he's doing, and it was what he did last time. And it may be that's where he's known, that's where he's popular, that's where he sells tickets. I think there's St. Louis. Was there Atlanta? There was St. Louis. My wife actually has been traveling to Wichita for work, and I was noticing there's a couple of dates within a couple hours of Wichita. I thought, maybe if she has to go for work, then I'll go down and. But can't see it happening, to be honest. But it might be fun. It'd be fun to see him in that environment, in a different environment, wouldn't it? Final little thing. Robert Plant has a bunch of dates scheduled for Europe. Remember, there's some Scandinavian stuff, and he's got a couple of. I think there's England. There's a couple of festival things, right? He's canceled his 2 Russian shows, June 18th. They're postponed. They're calling it a postponement. June 18th and June 20th. June 18th in St. Petersburg, Russia. June 20th in Moscow, Russia. They are postponed. No date announced, which is a cancellation until further notice. They're saying it's connected, quote unquote, connected with the logistics of the tour. This comes via TASS, by the way, the newspaper TASS, and out of it's a Belarusian translation. So forgive me, connected with the logistics of the tour isn't necessarily grammatically wonderful, but that is how it came out from the Belarusian. And so why he's canceling the shows, what's that mean? One wonders if with the turmoil in that part of the world right now, if they've just decided maybe best to stay away. But who knows exactly what's going on? Maybe there's tanks blocking the road between A and B at this point. But anyway, those shows are canceled. I don't think Plant here is making any kind of political statement. I think it's just probably just somewhere along the line somebody's advised maybe this is a good stuff to avoid. All right, let's get back to the remasters. You guys want to hear about the remasters. I want to talk about the remasters. Everything exploded last Thursday. We knew about it the last podcast. We kind of knew what was going on. It had leaked on Tuesday. But it blew out on Thursday morning, the same day I loaded that podcast. Away we went. And it's been a week now. This is Thursday. So it's been a week. And what we know is there are 3 albums being released. 1, 2, 3. They are Forgive me, I'm bringing up rambleonradio.com so I can kind of read stuff off as I go. The first album is coming in 2 discs, 3 LPs format. And you can get just the remastered LP. You can get just the remastered CD. You can get the remastered CD with bonus material, which is 2 CD. You can get the remastered LP with bonus material. You can download via iTunes all of the stuff. You can get the deluxe super deluxe box edition at $140, which has the 3 LPs, the 2 CDs, and all the files in super high def digital audio, plus a 1,000,000-page book. And forgive the dog, she's dumb as a post and knows not what she does there. See, you think I'm kidding, she's dumb. She barks when people come to the door, then she barks when they drive away again. So we get the... Anyway, yeah, so it comes with... It's like a 68-page booklet that comes with it. Which, you know, as much as you're going to sit and read the thing, it might as well be 1,000,000 pages probably. Be a great experience to sit them. But so the first album, the bonus material is as we talked about last week, the Live at Olympia. I'm going through my list here. I got all the bits right. So LP1, we know Good Times, Bad Times, Never Want to Leave You, Shook Me, Days Confused, Your Time's Gonna Come, Black Mountainside, Communication Breakdown, I Can't Quit You Baby, How Many More Times. And then this would be LP2, Live in Paris, 1969, October 10th at the Olympia. Good Times, Bad Times, Communication Breakdown. I played a bit of that last week. You Shook Me, Heartbreaker, Dazed and Confused. White Summer, Black Mountainside, Moby Dick, I Can't Quit You Babe, How Many More Times? And both of those albums, LP2, LP3, consist of CD2 on the CD, if you get the CD. And of course, like I say, you can get the super duper boxy set. Now, the word is that... a little bit of Heartbreaker solo has been snipped. And a lot of How Many More Times has been snipped. Oh, and Moby Dick. This is the first Moby Dick. This is out as a broadcast radio, but they never broadcast Moby Dick. Apparently, this is an edited version. There's been some cutting to the drum solo. Furthermore, How Many More Times is heavily cut. It's about half the length they actually did it in concert. That's what we're hearing right now. But anyway, it's a good concert, and hopefully this will come out great. I'm looking forward to that one, maybe above all else. And one's not my favorite album, but just that live show, I think I really want to have and get. And I'll say I've bought the box. I've put in on. I've been to Amazon and pre-ordered all 3 of the box sets, and it's $450, and I can't imagine that I'm actually going to go through with buying them. Matter of fact, I'm almost positive that I'm going to knock that down to... I want the LPs, you know? Do I need a high-end digital download? Probably not. Probably not. My wife, I can almost feel my wife standing. She's not even in the house, but I can almost feel her standing going, what do you mean, probably? Do I need a... the first one also comes, it's 24-bit, by the way, 96 kilohertz, 24-bit, and it's on a download card, high-def audio download card. 70 plus, it's a 70-plus page book, and the first 30,000 will be of each box set will be individually numbered, and there's also in the first one a replica of a band's original Atlantic press kit, high quality print of the original album cover. All good, I guess, but I don't know. I can't see me buying that. I want the LP. That's that simple. I want the LP. And from there, I will turn the LP into I can turn, the live stuff into a CD, into digital files. in my very own house. So I'm almost positive that's going to get knocked down to the LP. Then there's two. Again, it comes with single CD, double edition CD, single LP, deluxe edition, 2 LP, digital download, and the super deluxe edition box. Same setup as the last one. Doesn't have the promo material. That's the only difference. Track list, Whole Lot of Love, What Is and What Should Never Be, the 11th song, Thank You, Heartbreaker, Living Loving Maid, Ramble On, Moby Dick, Bring It On Home. LP2, CD2 would be the bonus material, is Whole Lot of Love, rough mix with vocal, What Is and What Should Never Be, rough mix with vocal, Thank You, backing track, Moby Dick, backing track, Heartbreaker, rough mix with vocal, Living Loving Maid, She's Just a Woman, backing track, Ramble On, rough mix with vocal, and La La, intro, outro, rough mix. So, I have to tell you the truth. I have no interest in that one. There's nothing in there that makes me, a rough mix with vocal of Whole Lot of Love. Oh, that ought to be good. I have no interest whatsoever. I want the complete subject, right? I'm happy with Whole Lot of Love. And I don't need to hear I'm not one of those guys who necessarily wants to sit around and listen to the history. How did they make it? Where did this come from? How did this, So let's go back a month in the studio and see what they were doing, and then the finished product. That is interesting, yes. $40 or $50 worth of interesting? No. There's nothing, unless what I'm reading and what it actually is are two different things. It's really very different than how my mind is processing this. I have no interest in that LP too. I'll want to hear La La to see what it is. And I assume, intro, outro, rough mix, it's not even going to be, I don't know, is it going to be a full song? I don't know. I have no interest in that. And the truth be told, for the money these things are costing, you might be better off to find a Robert Ludwig engineered or mastered version of Zeppelin 2 from the 70s, which go for about $40, $50. They can go up, way up, but and Robert, for those who don't know, Robert Ludwig, different people, whenever they reissue an LP, or even when after a certain time they kind of make new plates that the LP gets printed on, and it has to be remastered each time. It has to be kind of finished, and the Ludwig ones are very loud, very ballsy, very up there, and the Led Zeppelin 2 is considered exceptional by collectors, and they can be had on ABA. And it's a Robert Ludwig if you look at the portion of the album at the end. After all the songs, there's a big black, between the label and the songs, there's a black ring. It's called the Dead Wax, and they inscribe in it the album and often various other stuff. And one of the things it'll say is who did the remastering, whose edition this is, and it'll say RL in that. Those initials will appear there. If you see RL, and it could be just one side of the album, it could be both sides of the album. If you pick one up in the store and it says RL, you look at that Dead Wax area and it says RL front and back. Buy it, send it to Ramble On Radio. Brian, care of Ramble On Radio Towers, Hesper, Ontario. If you happen to see that, and and you're in the market, especially for Led Zeppelin 2, that's the one to get. Apparently, it's the audio geeks and stuff go a little crazy for that one. So I almost feel like I would be better off getting one of those instead of buying this album. I already have the album on LP, and it's in pretty good shape, actually. It's not one I've listened to as much as, say, 4 or 3. So, I may not buy that at all. It's the only one I would say that about. And it's got it's got everything to do with what's in and maybe once I hear what's in there, I'll change my mind. But I'm not seeing it. Now, 3, I could go for the box set. 3, I could. But I'm not sure I will. I'm thinking, at 100 and change for the box sets, I'm actually thinking, In Through the Outdoor might be a good one. I would think they would put like the 6 covers in Through the Outdoor. That would be a cool thing. So I'm thinking In Through the Outdoor might be a cool one. 4 might be a cool one, a good one to get. And then maybe Presents would be one. But we would have to see. What would they put in Presents? Maybe they'd make a little cardboard fold-out object. You can hey, congratulations to Netch, who listens and is a friend of the show. Netch Titla, who for his birthday this week, his brother bought him an object. So yay to his brother. You got good family there, Netch. Anyway, Led Zeppelin 3, again, single CD, single LP, double edition CD, double LP, 2 LPs again, digital download, super deluxe box set. And it goes tracklist, Immigrant Song, Friends, Celebration Day, Since I've Been Loving You, Out in the Tiles, Gallows Pole, Tangerine, That's the Way, Bronnyar Stomp, and Hats Off to Roy Harper. And LP2, the bonus material, Immigrant Song Alternate Mix, Friends, No Vocal, Celebration Day Alternate Mix, Since I've Been Loving You, Rough Mix, Bathroom Sound, I don't even want to know, Gallows Pole, That's the Way, Rough Mix, Gallows Pole, Rough Mix, That's the Way, Jennings Farm Blues, Rough Mix, Key to the Highway, Trouble on My Mind, Rough Mix. Now, Jennings Farms Blues is, as I recall it, that's out there. That's basically Bronnyar's electric version of Bronnyar Stomp. I have no idea what Key to the Highway, Trouble in My Mind is. Everybody's talking about La La. What is that? Trouble in Mind, sorry. Trouble in Mind sounds like an old blues, doesn't it? And then there is also Bathroom Sound, track, no vocal. Little early John Paul Jones, Norwegian avant-garde, perhaps. But at least that one's got a couple of things. For one, Jimmy Page has talked about the alternate mix Since I've Been Loving You as being exceptional. Or the rough mix. So that maybe leads you to think the rough mixes are going to be interesting in some of these cases. I'd be interested in other mixes of That's the Way and Gallows Pole, I guess. But it's, the Jennings Farm Blues, Key to the Highway. Speaking of Jennings Farm Blues, by the way, off topic slightly. I was wearing my Jason Bonham shirt to work the other day, and my boss stops me and says, "They good?" I said, "Oh yeah, I've seen him a number of times," sort of thing. He goes, "I seen." He says, "Yeah, I'm thinking of seeing him when they come to Ramble this fall." He says, "I seen Zeppelin in '71 at Maple Leaf Gardens," and that's the reason I bring that show is called Jennings Farm Blues. The bootlegs from it are called that. But so yeah, he was September, I believe it was. At Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto, they played. It was their last ever show in Toronto, actually. And there he was, my boss. I have a new boss. I'm kind of doing a new department of work. So it's always good to make a connection with your boss, isn't it? About something. So I'll have to keep hitting on the Zeppelin with him a bit, just to make sure he likes me. Not that it matters. I work in a union environment. If he doesn't like me, that's his problem. But that's the way it works, folks. But anyway, so that's what you were getting. And like I say, with 2, I think I'm just going to buy the albums, the double album or the triple album and the double album for 1 and 3. I'll probably leave 2 on the shelf for now. Like I said, I've already pre-ordered the box sets, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to cancel those through Amazon. You can do that. Oh, by the way, I've got links up on RambleOnRadio.com. I've got on the sidebar links. I got in there this week, and when I changed things around about 6 or 8 months ago, I lost a lot of sidebar stuff and whatnot. I've added in the sidebar links, put my tip jar back. But if you're going to go buy these off Amazon, Amazon.com specifically, I think. Go to RambleOnRadio.com, click on the link, buy through there. And it doesn't matter what you buy, just click on one of the links. And once you're in, you can buy a car, and I will get it'll send some money to the show. It'll send some money here. I mean, if you're going to buy it anyway, just do it that way. It doesn't cost you anything, and it drops a few percentages, a point or two, I think I get once it's delivered, once it's sent. So yeah. As I say, so I've put in for the three box sets. I'm positive I'm going to drop those. But the question is, what are you actually getting sound-wise? And what we apparently are getting is the same thing as the iTunes, the remaster for iTunes. It's been out over a year now. Been out about 16 months, I think, now. And I have recently been buying them. And I've got them all now. And what I did was, in the last week, I've got, I kind of threw, a playlist together with my original MP3s, and then back to back to back. So, Whole Lot of Love original, back to back, Whole Lot of Love remastered. What is and what should ever be original, what is and what should never be remastered, etc., etc. So to get them one after the other, and I can even go listen to the intro, click, listen to the intro, click, listen. So just trying to get a feel for what's better, what's worse. My impression on and these are supposedly the same files. Now, this is why I want to get John Davis on the show. This is really where I'd like to take it with him, because he's not going to answer what's coming, what did they find a new song, sing us a line of La La. He's not going to do that. But what he probably will answer is, or what he will answer is the technical. And I don't quite understand how it all works, but the understanding is they remastered these albums, and then they got them for iTunes. So what you end up with is these files, right? And probably super high end WAV files, and there's probably like a professional quality WAV file that takes a gigabyte or something, a huge file that then they can mix down to, and presumably they just farm that out to the different formats. Now, on the Steve Hoffman forum, which is they're really concerned there about fidelity, and it's an audiophile forum. There's concern that that's what they've done, that they haven't used the original tapes to vinyl. For making the vinyl, for making the CDs is one thing, for making the vinyl is another. So, I'd love to know, what's the process? Do they make it to put it on another tape and then turn it into an MP3 file? Do they make it a high-end wave and then turn it into an LP? But apparently they've used the same mixes. So that's the material point. So my impression of these all along has been the earlier albums, there's less of a difference than the later albums. The later albums, there's a really startling difference, actually. I listened to Physical Graffiti in the car going to New York about 4 weeks ago, and was shocked at the stuff I was hearing out of it and just how great it sounded. As good as I ever heard it sound. So I presume that as the technology got better through the 70s, what it left behind for them to work with now also improved. So that there's more to pull out of it than the earlier stuff, the 4-track machines, and the first two albums were done on 4-track, right? There's presumably less kind of there's less good information put in the first place to take out in the second place. If you follow what I mean, So the first album, virtually no difference between, and now my MP3s are cut from the 1992, I think it's Barry Diamond, I think is the guy's name, who remastered those, and the 1992 box sets. And what I did when I threw out my first MP3 player, I ran them all, I burned them all, and then I went back, and because it lists it as the box set, right? So I went back and I re-tagged every file so that they were sorted out by album. First album, second album, third album. I even at the time actually put in a song, instead of going song 1, song 2, song 3, song 4, song 5, I did side 1, song 1. So 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 21, 22, 20. So that it was divided by sides of the album. I did that with a lot of albums. iTunes doesn't really recognize that stuff, though. I don't know. But, so that's the file I gave. So the first album, virtually no difference. The second album, there were moments when there were things like in the Heartbreaker solo, coming out of the solo, and he kind of does two solos there, right? He does the one where it's just him, which everybody talks about. Then he does this unbelievably hot solo. And if you want to talk great Jimmy Page solos, it's the one nobody talks about in Heartbreaker that is the great one there. He's such a hot lick. Coming out of, it's the solo, then the band comes back in, he does a rhythm part, and then he blasts this solo out. Just rips it. And it was clipping in the 92. It's distorting. In this version, it wasn't. So there's some subtle differences, but just going this to this to this to this with my earbuds on. And you have to, when we're talking audio, you have to make certain distinctions, right? I'm standing and work with my earbuds on in a fairly noisy environment with earbuds, so I'm not catching a difference there. The second album, a little, like I say, I'm catching a few of those second album differences, not so much. The first album, virtually nothing. The third album, start to hear a difference. The third album, I'm hearing to be this is one of those talking audio, talking music is an awkward thing to do because trying to describe what exactly am I trying to describe? But it sounded more in the room. I think is the best way to put it. It sounded like I was there more, live sounding. And I think the audio guys would tell you that's compression or lack of. They take and the 92s were criticized as being heavily compressed, which, I mean, that was the style of the 90s. And you think of the grunge bands, and it almost sounds, from a tone perspective, the 92 albums sound grungy, right? They're little pulled back on the higher ends, on the treble side. Treble's turned down, bass turned up, sort of mid-range is turned up, that sort of thing. So the treble's back, and it's a livelier sounding thing. And I noticed it definitely on the third album. Noticed it on stuff like Since I've Been Loving You. Noticed it on That's the Way. It's just a little bit, it's a touch different, but it's a difference. And I think the bottom line here is we're getting, really good quality sounding, great songs, really good quality sounding. It's going to be as good as we're going to get, possibly, too. So it'd be interesting. I'm really interested how it's going to work on album, how it's going to sound on, putting it on the LP with proper headphones on. And I don't have a great setup. But it'll be, I'm looking forward to it. And I think that's, for now, that's all I got. All I really got to say. That's... There's 3 albums. You have to decide how much you need another copy of these albums. You have to decide what is a song called La La worth to you. From a price perspective. And I say I don't think it's worth that much to me. I'll probably go, I say, again, with the LPs of 1 and 3, and then I'll hold my... I'll hold that. But you know what? I still have that. I have not canceled that pre-order yet. I've been thinking this for 2 or 3 days. So I could see me getting the box sets. I could see me I just can't imagine 3 albums, $400, and there's 6 more albums to come. There's a level of lunacy there that I have to justify to myself. I can't. I just can't do it. I just can't. Anyway, so that's it for that. For now, I'm sure we'll talk it to death in the next little while. I want to thank a couple of people contacted me this week, let me know they're listening. and I appreciate that. I loved hearing from you, by the way. Go to Facebook and start a conversation. We'll chat, right? Same goes for Twitter. I do try to respond to tweets and stuff. I'm on Twitter at Ramble On Blog. I'm on Facebook. Ramble On Radio has a group on Facebook. Go and check it out. Go to rambleonradio.com. Click on the links, buy the LPs, buy the CDs, buy the box sets, but click on the links first. And follow along for the news and reviews. The video of California Breed is up on the website. All the information on the box sets is on the website, including entire what you can buy and track lists. Plus other news and reviews, the John Paul Jones dates, information on California Breed. It's all there. It's all coming. And that's it for episode number 51. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate it. Thank you for being out there. And I'm going to close off with, from the same disc, the Midnight Rehearsals disc. This is called The Acoustic End. And you wonder, is this La La outro? Right. So this is The Acoustic End. This would be kind of a little Jimmy Pagey bit. And thank you for listening. Thank you for being there. And I will see you talk to you next week.
Switch off the internet.